I like to write about our people, and that is reflected in the books that I've written so far. Not only about the people who have accomplished great things, not only about the big shots, but I like to write about those that people deem ordinary, although I believe that no one is ordinary. No one. But I like to bring back the stories that I grew up with and what I observed. And so I'll tell you about a certain individual. His name was Bobby. And if you think you could spell, what joke you're making. Because I've never met anybody who could spell as Bobby. Bobby the Spellaman. And if you think I lie, ask a fella called Hagley. He'll tell you. Yes, I remember Bobby. So I stood and I watched as Bobby hopscotch his way, like we would say. He hopscotch his way through the rugged track that led from Monjaloo to Springs. Well, that is a paved road now. Before it was a dirt track, a rugged track. Then Bobby continued on to Belmont, his bare feet having grown immune to the burning pangs of the midday sun. Bobby was in a hurry again. Now there were those who claimed that Bobby was once a brilliant teacher or tailor, but then they said somebody do him. Now, doing was one way to explain a sudden change in one's behavior. Someone either do you or they put light on you. They put light on you. Now we will say old people pass bam bam on you or John P on you. All our terms that were used. One thing that was certain though is whoever succeeded in doing Bobby failed to do his ability to spell. Why? Bobby could have spelled. What repeating? No word was too hard for Bobby to unscramble. He rattled off those words with an ease, the spelling of those words with an ease that would have made Mr. Webster smile. School children saw Bobby and instinctively asked him to spell. Anytime you see Bobby, that's the first thing you ask Bobby's. And he never stumbled on the tongue twisters, the big words. He even spelled some in his own fancy way. So when Bobby was asked to spell Mississippi, for instance, he spelled it this way. M-I, crooked letter I, crooked letter I, humpback I, Mississippi. He spelled and the people opened their mouths in amazement. Chicken in the car and the car can't go. Chicago. Hurry, 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 the thief in the cane. Hurricane. But listen to this, eh? If Bobby was asked to spell too many words, he became aggravated and angry. And he mixed up those words, with some bad words. He was good at spelling those bad words too. And then one was sure to get the message. Don't ask the man to spell too much. Bobby was familiar with words, but he was just as familiar with praise. Well, what we call praise back then, you know, in those days they have a praise, they have praise. People come in the night and they sing and they bring the Legion of Mary and all this people to sing from Holy Ghost and abide with me and they drink a grog and so on. And of course, when the rum done, praise done. But Bobby was familiar with praise also. And he always learned of someone's death early. As soon as a person died, Bobby got to know. I don't know how he knew that, but he got to know. And when the people gathered at the home to pray for the dead, Bobby was already there. Now, it was a common practice for mourners to bring in the Legion of Mary. I already mentioned that, to recite the Holy Rosary. And while they recited the Holy Rosary, the men knocked down, the women too, they knocked down the clerk's coat or the rum. They drank and they sang, "O Lord of help in ages past." And they helped them. While they're singing about, "O Lord, our help in ages past," they were helping themselves to more than a few strong drinks. They loved their grog, boy. They loved their grog. Bobby would travel all over the place announcing the latest death. He was the telephone link that some people did not have back in those days. He was the death line. When you see Bobby, you knew somebody died. Occasionally, he would ask for a piece of bread. And if one pretended not to have bread, he would raise his voice and demand, "You have bread day? Yes, you have bread day, you have bread day. Give me a piece of bread, you have bread day." And he then took the bread and journeyed on. Because people were kind, you know, they were very kind. Gave Bobby bread. Walking a lot, so give him some bread, put some energy in his body. Bobby was observant, boy. One observant character was Bobby. And as he traveled, he took keen interest in what was taking place around him. Bobby acquainted himself with people and with things. It was not very wise to ask Bobby to reproduce the sound of the sugarcane factory. You know, the sugarcane factory in Woodlands. Well, in those days, the factory made, yes, they made rum, but they also made sugar. Woodland Sugar Factory. That's called Woodland Sugar. They made sugar and rum. Yes. So it was not good to ask Bobby, how the sugar factory does go? Now, big people are wrong, eh? Listen to this. School children asking Bobby, and in basis you get licks if you cause bad word, you know. What we call bad word. So big people are wrong, and asking Bobby to reproduce, to see how the sugar factory, the sound it makes. And his answer, boy, was always a graphic. Well, I can't say the word, but you know what I mean. Bobby start to whine, boy. You whine and he say, "I-F, I-F, 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 I-F." You know what I mean? Boy, the F stood for the well-known bad word. I-F, I-F, I-F. That's how the sugar factory does go. I-F, 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 I-F. Because the song of the sugar factory. And yes, sure, Bobby had the movements to accompany his words. Then the school children got licks. You know why? You're making Bobby cuss and wind up a waist. As I said before, you could not use certain words in the presence of elder people who were older than you, the older people. You couldn't do that. And even some nicknames you couldn't call in the house. I couldn't tell the boy down there, they call him Pumpkin, you know. You can't say that, Pumpkin. You're crazy or what? It was obvious and indeed natural that as Bobby hastily trotted on the hot pitch, I know when the sun hit that pitch, boy, sometimes that pitch used to bleed, get soft, and Bobby walking on that hot pitch. But as he hastily trotted on the hot pitch like a horse, nature would sometimes call. Once, when nature did call, Bobby sought to relieve himself right in front of a fella they call Back-a-Neck. Right in front Back-a-Neck's front door. And as soon as Bobby bent down to do what he had to do, Back-a-Neck was waiting with a bull pistol. Bobby saw the bull pistol, boy. And Bobby take up his pants and he sped away, boy. He run, pull up his pants and moved on. And Bobby sought a most suitable place to do what he had to do, beneath a nearby breadfruit tree. And then he continued to announce, "Miss Mary dead! Miss Mary dead!" Yes, I remember Bobby. Rest in peace, Bobby. Anthony Wendell, The Riggs.